Hey now. So I am very excited today. We're going to finish off the A's. This is taking longer than I thought, I got to be honest. But we're going to finish with Earl Averill. Earl Averill, much like Luke Apple, even more so maybe, is really common autograph. He died in 1983. So you would think, okay, that is the time where they weren't signing like mass signings. Those shows weren't really happening yet. He lived in Seattle, which was not the hub of baseball card shows, but he traveled a lot in the 70s and 80s. I think he got into the Hall of Fame at 71. So he did, he was very receptive during the 71 to like 1983. He was healthy for the most part. We're going to get to that in a second. So a lot of people would write him asking for autographs, always an obliging signer. One of the distinctions Earl Averill has is he played in the very first All-Star game in 1933 at Comiskey Park. And keep that in the back of your head as we're going to get back to that. That is very important. So first, like I always do, I want to show you my autograph first. I actually have two Earl Averill autographs. When I first started collecting, I don't know if you can see that pretty well because of the light here. I'm going to go that down. Yeah. So this is a Hall of Fame signed postcard. It's signed in red. And again, it's typical where you're going to see an Earl Averill signed postcard. I'm trying to move it away from the light here. Yeah. So you can see right here, you can see it sort of jets out with the E, a curve, and another curve at the bottom, Earl. And again, the A kind of jets out right there, Earl Averill. These are not rare. He's $30, $40. Again, he was a great signer through the mail. So that is not certified. I bought that before I really started collecting. It was a good deal. I think I paid $40 for it. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm going to get it, maybe not. But again, I changed my focus. And later on, I went to this right here. So let's pull this up. Here we have a signed check you can see right here, Earl Averill. So shortly after he passed away, the family released a bunch of checks. And depending what you read, they were grabbed real quickly by collectors. They were not distributed. They were held. And so one popped up in a small auction and I grabbed it right away. I think I paid $100. Since then, I've seen more checks like that. And again, they're all from this Bank of Seattle. They're all from Seattle. You can see right here. This is where he lived. He lived and died in Seattle in 1983. Even then, you could see the jetting of the E. And again, the jetting of the A coming up, swooping around and coming back. And usually when you're looking for an Averill, I like to look for a break between the two L's right here. Again, we're going to come back to all of this in a second because Earl Averill is one of those guys who I'm starting to see a lot of forgeries of. And I'm seeing forgeries really of two main things, Perez steel cards and baseballs. So let's go look at a couple. Let's go look right here. So this is the PSA database. And by 1980, again, great signer, but he's getting late 70s, early 80s. His hand's getting shaky. And so you can see right here, sign dated. I love the E's. Love it how it swoops up. The A, again, swoops up, curves around, comes back down. But again, you could start seeing the slowing down, the shakiness. This is signed on a flat in 1980. And again, he died in 1983. This looks like it's signed earlier, but not too much earlier. Again, you see shakiness in the E, like a jetting out right there, the E, a jetting out of the A, lines between the L's. So let's go. I don't know about this autograph. Ron calls it fake. I don't know enough about cards, but again, it's very slowly drawn, as you can see. Maybe this was signed towards the end of his life. So again, the E doesn't even really jet out past. It starts over. And okay, let's get to the PSA. Sorry, the Perez steel cards. This Perez steel card was issued in 1981. Like he stopped signing in July of 1983. So his Perez steel card is considered one of the most expensive signed Perez steel cards out there, maybe next to Satchel Paige. If you're going to get a real one, expect to pay $10,000. That's right, not $10,000, $2,000 around for a good one. Now, what's weird about this Perez steel, and I know it's certified, but see how the E doesn't jet out? He signed it straight up, which I thought is weird. But assuming he turned the card around, I don't like how the E goes straight up. You see that? How he starts to go in an upward motion. He doesn't come in an outward motion. In addition, the L's are really close together right here. So I would just personally, I know it's certified, I would be very concerned about that card. Again, this card looks much better. I love the E jetting out right there. I love the A jetting out, a nice separation. Again, for some reason, like my postcard, he commonly signed in red when you went to his house. Again, this looks like a beautiful single signed baseball, but here we go. This is what concerns me. So Earl Averill passed away in August, but he entered the hospital the day of the 1983 All-Star game. They brought in 14 All-Stars from the very first All-Star game in 1933 for its 50th anniversary, including Earl Averill. And there's a story that Barry Halper tells that he was at the game, he was very prominent, and when he was getting rid of his collections, one of the few things he kept was an Earl Averill signed bat. Because Earl Averill, he was pestering Earl to get into his room so he could sign some autographs for Barry specifically. He wasn't feeling well, so Barry went into Earl's room. He got some stuff signed. I don't know what he got signed. Doesn't really talk about it besides the signed bat. And so he signed some stuff for him that night. The next day, the day of the game, Earl was taken to the hospital. He was in Chicago. They stabilized him. They sent him to a hospital in Washington on July 9th. He never left the hospital. So, yeah, these baseballs look good. And I don't know when these 50th anniversary baseballs came out. I've seen a couple of them. But you just got to watch. Just the story. If they came out the day of the All-Star game, it's almost impossible for him to sign them. Granted, these look like good baseballs. So just be very careful with bidding on these 50th anniversary baseballs. Again, here's another one. This is up for auction right now at Heritage. I mean, it looks good, but it looks neat. You know what I'm saying? It looks almost too neat for 1983. He was still an old man by then. There's no shakiness whatsoever on it. Same thing with this one on the PSA. And these are different balls. You can tell there's a dot for the eye right here, which here's the eye jets out. So I don't know what's going on with this Earl Averill. I want to go back to that 1980 one again. Right here. You see, 1980, he was already starting to slow down his autograph. There were some curves, but yet this baseball is beautiful. So, I mean, just buyer beware here. Again, this is another Earl Averill, press steel. This concerns me. Look how close those L's are together. And again, it's beautifully signed. This was signed in the last 2 years of his life. Here's another press steel. Honestly, I would feel more comfortable about this one, simply at least because the L's at least are away from each other. And the A, I mean, it's a smaller signature. And they say as he got older, his signature got smaller and smaller and smaller. So please just be careful when buying Earl Averill, especially on the press steels and on the baseballs. If it were me, I would just stick to a flat, a multi-team, like a check for sure, $100 for a check. Again, if you're looking at a real postcard, you're looking at a couple $1,000 to $2,000. More than amazingly started to come out of the press steels. You see more and more every year, and they're newly sorted. You can tell just by the label up here. And as well, these baseballs, man, I'm not saying it's not. Personally, this were offered to me at a reasonable price. I would personally pass. I'm not saying it's fake. I don't know. It's just got some issues with it that concern me. So that's about it. We are going to, get to Mr. Home Run Baker coming up next. Probably won't be till next week. Like I said, I'm really busy with tax work, but I hope you're enjoying these videos. Love if you comment, love if you like it. And if you could subscribe, that would be amazing. That's about it. As always, keep collecting.